Pretty awesome for a 29-year-old.
Right now, I don't know how I did it. 21, 22 is madness, but everyone was doing it. You guys were all out there buying. So I was, hey, game. You're already paying that rent. Go put it towards a mortgage and you're building your own equity. Pay your own mortgage instead of somebody else's mortgage. You are creating wealth for yourself, whether you know it or not.
All right. Suze.
Taylor.
So you've been in real estate since 2015?
2015.
So a decade.
Decade.
Wow. Pretty awesome for a 29-year-old.
Right now, I don't know how I did it.
The question I have for you is, if you are a homeowner and you're considering buying another home in the market, what would hold you back today from doing that? Or what would you think are the benefits of doing that today?
So I think what we see on the holdback piece of it is, I hear the term golden handcuffs, right? So maybe you were able to lock in one of the super low interest rates in the 2s or 3s. And so your concern would, a lot of times when I hear that, my instinct is that their concern is monthly payment. And are they going to be able to afford the new monthly payment in the new house in what they're wanting? And so at that point, we ask the questions. What would you change about your current living situation? What do you want to improve? That piece of it. And then really the goal is, if we can accomplish that and still have a comfortable monthly payment, regardless of interest rate, right? If that monthly payment still fits what you're seeking, then does it make sense for you to go ahead and make that move? So that's the conversation. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. And that's the conversation around that. But that's a lot of times if people are feeling a little hesitant right now in today's market, because it is a great time to buy, is
so
usually
good. Yeah, if you're watching this video, agents are always saying, it's a great time to buy. Like 2020, it's a great time to buy. At the bottom of the market, it's a great time to buy. So I think that there's a lot of truth to that, right? There's always a reason to do it and a reason not to do it. So what do you think, what are the benefits right now? You say it's a great time to buy, and I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of today's market that we didn't have 3 years ago in this crazy market?
So what's funny is, maybe when I look at it and say what wasn't a great time to buy was when everyone else was doing it, and 21, 22 is madness, but everyone was doing it. You guys were all out there buying. So I was, hey, game, right? But right now, not everyone's out there buying. So you're able to do so much more. There's more homes for you to check out. There's more negotiation room. I mean, before we were paying over appraisal value. We weren't getting any seller concessions. And right now we can negotiate some of those things.
Well, and there were so many clients during that time that, before they'd get an accepted offer, they'd have to write 3, 4, 5 offers.
Yeah.
And each one getting a little bit more aggressive in order to secure the deal.
Yeah.
Where now buyers have some options.
And it was funny because the conversation changed. So back in 2017, 18, 19, it was, let's go find the home that you love, you fall in love with, you walk in this home. When we had the madness of the market, I had to go make you fall in love with, you had to fall in love with 3, 4, 5 homes, putting offers in. And so now we're not seeing that as much. It's, let's go house hunt. Let's find something that you fall in love with and do something about it.
Now, what are the disadvantages of today's market?
Really? Let me think for a minute on that one.
Because I think that there's always a positive and a negative, right? And
sure.
So this has always been that thing, is people trying to time the market. If you're trying to time the market as an investor, I can see some thought to that. Although timing the market is difficult, right? Until it happens, you don't know if it's going to happen, right? But you can have some indicators of maybe now's not as great of a time to sell, or now's not as great of a time to buy. But if you're buying your primary residence and you already own a home, it's 6 in one, half dozen another. It's either a good seller's market, but it's not a great time to buy, or it's a great time to buy, but it's not a great time to sell. So regardless, you're in that market And you're going to have
one
opinions
direction
on
or
one
another.
side or the other.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that you are on both sides of it. It's a moot point. You're either it's great to sell, but not so great to buy, or vice versa. So and that sounds like what we're talking about is folks who are in that scenario of owning a home and then searching for a new home.
Yeah. So some of the not so great things about the market right now would be,
I think we do have a higher interest rate than what we've had in the past. And I think that affects people's mindset on things. But what's funny is if you look at it historically, it's an average, if not lower, interest rate. And so it's just a matter of what folks got used to for so many years and getting back to the new norm of what interest rates are. And we may see those tick down, no crystal ball, but we may see them tick down a little bit over the next year or so. We'll see. But it's the new norm and interest rates and folks just getting more used to that.
Yeah.
So
on the seller side,
on the seller side,
what are you seeing?
You got to stand out. And you either stand out with price or with condition. And so your home is either spot on upgrades for the area, that sort of thing, or your price is really hitting that sweet spot of where it needs to be. And I think that is what is selling homes right now in today's market, is making sure that you really are standing out in one of those two areas.
What expectations are you coaching your sellers to have as far as feedback from the market, right? Like,
yep.
How do you know if you're priced right or your condition is right once you hit the market? Of course, when you go on, you have an idea.
Yeah.
How are you coaching your clients right now on the sell side?
Just like you said, is talking through the market talks, the market speaks, it tells us, and they're really who determine the price, not us, unfortunately, but is just letting them know that we're going to know. And before I was able to say, hey, we're going to know in the first few days. Right now, we're going to know something in the first few weeks. What kind of traffic are we getting? How many people are coming through? What interest and feedback are we getting? And that's going to tell us a whole lot. Now we're seeing days on market higher. So setting those expectations of, hey, we may not see an offer come in the first couple weeks, maybe even up to a month. But as long as those showings are still happening and eyeballs are still getting on that home, we're generally in a good spot. Now we're having to have conversations too of, hey, week 2, week 3, week 4, and we've only had 1, 2 groups through the home. That's the market talking, right? They're telling us something. So
right now, if you're selling a home, if you were putting your home on the market right now, how long would you wait to do a price adjustment or a condition correction before you got an offer? Are you waiting 30 days, 60 days, 2 weeks before you make a correction?
Yeah. So previously it was more along the lines of a week and we were making adjustments. But nowadays I'm coaching folks that, and every home's different. Every home has different days on market for the area, but a roundabout is about a month. About a month in, if we're not seeing the turnout that we want, we're going to have a conversation. Yeah.
What do you think holds most first-time home buyers back from going ahead and move forward and buying a house?
Man, I think what holds them back is generally, a lot of it is the not knowing, but it's not knowing how much money I'm going to need to bring or have saved up, down payment, not knowing about a home in general and repairs needed. A lot of times they've had landlords fixing items. And so that part of it. Also just the unknown of how a mortgage works and that piece of it. So I think that kind of can hold people back.
Wait. If there was one thing that you were going to tell a buyer or someone who's considering buying a home, currently rent, they haven't owned a home before, what advice would you give them?
Man, the first thing that comes out of my mouth, and it's almost this market, previous markets, any of it, is why don't you pay your own mortgage instead of somebody else's mortgage, building that home equity. Rents have risen just as much as home prices have. And a lot of times even more. So if you're already paying that rent, go put it towards a mortgage and you're building your own equity. And then there's so many avenues to do that. It's not as scary as it seems. And there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of lenders who want to help. There's a lot of agents who want to help. And so just helping those people who don't necessarily know navigate through that.
But what if I buy, we've seen this huge increase in prices. What if I buy today and prices flatten off or go down?
Luckily, here in Oklahoma is we just continually see a steady appreciation. We have always appreciated in Oklahoma. And so that fear should, now things always are fluctuating, but that fear should be pretty limitless as or limited as far as prices going down or flatlining. So we just don't see it a ton.
Do you see real estate as being the vehicle that most people can create wealth with?
1000%. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just like I said, that's the very first thing I always say to folks is pay your own mortgage instead of somebody else's mortgage. You are creating wealth for yourself, whether you know it or not, just getting them. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you helped any, this is a trick question. But tell us about somebody maybe you helped just a few years ago, like maybe they bought in 2020, 2021, and then they're turning around and selling in today's market. And most people wouldn't think that in 2, 3, 4 years that they're even going to break even.
Yeah.
Right? What are you seeing with people that were able to buy them in that time and are needing to sell now? How has it been a win for them? Or
yeah, absolutely. Like you said, trick question, you know the answer, but that's actually one of my favorites is I'll have past clients who were maybe first-time home buyers and I helped them get into a house and it was scary. And then here we are 4 or 5 years later and they're needing to sell, maybe upgrade or life circumstance changed. And there's a ton of equity there for them. And so they're just, and a lot of times they're amazed. And that's the cool part. Yeah.
very cool. I think that's it.
All right.